Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste Om Shwara. Welcome back. We saw the verse 41 regarding you as my friend. I was being too casual towards you, oh Krishna, calling you friend or body or neighbor. So Arjuna was feeling guilt, and he would say, "Forgive me because I was not aware of your glory. I was not aware of who you are. You are the Lord. You are the avatar of the Lord." Let us put it that way. And then in retrospective, he was feeling guilt, and he was trying to make up for that. Extensive saying, "You are this, you are that, and forgive me for this, forgive me for that." I mean, there is an important psychological element in there, as we know. Yeah. A lot of the time we take things for granted and we just go about without value what we have, pay enough appreciation, respect to certain people around us. And then usually when people die and then everybody's crying, "Oh, I could have loved him better." I could have loved her back better. Okay. He says, "You deserve all namaskaras, and now I'm confused. I have all the directions to do namaskara because with the vision, from this vision, this Varupa, I can see that you are below, above, and all around me, and so on." Yeah. Forgive me, I was being impolite addressing you as a friend, but not because of my disrespect to you, but due to my ignorance in respect to, you know, your true nature. I do not have understanding, knowledge of what you are. In fact, it is your mistake. You have taken ordinary human form, and then Swan makes a little joke here. And we again reminds me of my friend Deb from Northern California. Say, "Oh, now that was 10 years. Oh, Naga, if you would begin levitating before me, I would start paying attention to your talks about Vedanta and about the self and so on. Levitate, show something here." And here Swami is saying that due to this misconception, this misunderstanding, it could have passed by Arjuna's mind an idea that, "Oh, it's okay, I'm asking forgiveness, but you're forgiven, but it's also your mistake. You could come not as an ordinary human being, an ordinary Namarupa. You should come like a great yogi with walking water and doing all kinds of things, levitating in front of us and, appearing, disappearing, or at least having two, three heads. But it would be more to the point to have some extraordinary powers. And then I would know that you are not an ordinary human being. I thought you were just my neighbor." So it's just a joke, but it says much about uh, our human nature, and why so many people are attracted to these gurus, or yogis with certain power, or shakti, to impress them. And rather than a guru who just is very simple and ordinary, who teaches the scripture. He wants people that, "Oh no, I'm in contact with all the realms. I know everything. I'm doing this job for humanity. I'm gonna save you." And then people are attracted, due to immaturity. Okay. And then he talks about grammar. In Sanskrit, there are some grammars that would not address the person properly from the standpoint of one's gender or whatnot. Doesn't matter. But we cannot say that Vyasacharya was wrong. We say we say then that he took a poetic license to word things in that way. We justify Vyasa. Grammatically, it's appropriate, and therefore I have taken blah, 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 blah. He said, I'm not following because I did not understand the nuance of the Sanskrit here relate to a proper gender way to approach the Lord. But we got the concept. If you guys want to share some deeper understanding, some more. Well, when we study the scripture, we can never take things literally or grammatically. You know, we have to understand that there are a lot of examples and a lot of parallels or metaphors that serves. And then there is a lot of music meaning to say poetry. I mean, when we hear to the teachings expressed by Shimayananda, there is so much poetry there, and these beautiful words, of transcendence and there. He's very beautiful. I like, and we love those things, especially at the beginning. But it is a trick way to present the teachings because people get caught up with those notions of time, space, action, and certain experience, which is the biggest and most profound obstacle for anyone develop a total love or value for knowledge rather than experience. Mostly everybody is still hoping to have a certain experience that could set them free. I'm talking about Vedantins even. He says, I'm sorry, but I use those terms inadvertently and carelessly because we have been so close neighbors and friends. When I speak, I do not think generally. When I speak, I just speak. When I think, but to think and to speak at the same time is difficult. When I think, generally, I don't speak. So we generally think, but when we are moving with friends, we are not going to think much. We take things more like for granted. I might have such words said that words inadvertently. So, okay. Verse 42, moreover, for the sake of fun, you have been slighted by me while playing, reclining, sitting, or eating, either in privacy or public, or Krishna. For that, I seek forgiveness from you, the incomprehensible one. Okay, that is the most beautiful, relevant passage of this verse, is the incomprehensible one. God, the creator, the invisible creator, which is not apart from creation, but it's so easy to take creation as just matter. So, can you help me here? For the sake of fun, you have been slighted by me. The meaning of this slighted, please?
It means made smaller.
Thanks, Mark. You have been smaller. I have been playing you small.
Made,
Now, oh, you don't
yeah.
play small. You just play normal. you know. You are a Namarupa with knowledge of the entire creation because you are Ishvara itself, manifest as an avatar of Ishvara. So, but you appear in this common body. So, not for the sake of making yourself small, but somehow knowing that people are going to make you small, you know. People are going to make you ordinary because they don't have an extraordinary mind or the mind of wisdom to recognize God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see the guy, you see Krishna there, reclining, sitting, eating, walking, talking to the cow, you know. That's why Ramji once so works, he hit the nail so hard when he said the ordinary consciousness we all are, you know. Arjuna says, I might have insulted you so many times for the sake of fun, for the sake of pulling your leg. Pulling your leg is a good one, huh? Pulling your leg. I must have disrespect to you. I must have, here, pull your leg, he says. Uh, but all of that because I was seeing you in a role of my friend, my neighbor, not in a role of an avatar of the Lord. We are such intimate friends. We have been together. Some say they were so friends. They have been together so many times, so many occasions, playing, well, hanging out on beds, sleeping together sometimes when they're smaller, meditating together or doing what asanas together. And I may have done it in front of other people as well. I might have made fun of you. And for all I did, I ask you once again forgiveness. Please pardon me. If we would carry around guilt for the way we have been disrespected God Ishwara, for our entire life, huh? We would be killed by this guilt. It would be a destructive guilt. So it's better we don't think in those terms, but we just recognize the power of a video of ignorance that makes us doing things as blind people, trying to find one's new way to go somewhere. You are like the worldly people. Worldly people will keep that in mind and feel resentment, but you are extraordinary, matchless, aprameya, matchless, incomparable, unique. So I feel a little bit bad, but I know that you are not holding any resentment because you understand human nature under the spell of a video. Verse 43, you are the father of this world, moving and stationary. So both world, the world animated by all jivas, or the jivas, which are part of the animated and living creatures, and the stationary object It's difficult to say that the vegetable brain is stationary because it's not really stationary. It just does not have legs and foot to move around. But they move. They are not ester. They grow. They have branch. They produce flowers and fruits. No? So, but then we have the world of inert objects. So you have created everything. You are the ultimate father. You are the adorable one and the teacher who is superior to all. So why Krishna is Adi Guru? We say Adi Shankaracharya, the original teacher, but there is something beyond Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya is more like the first Shankaracharya because there was some other texts that were attributed to, other people that were disciples of Shankara. But here it says that you are the original teacher. You are the one who holds the entire knowledge that brings about this universe, holds it together, and brings it and resolves itself back into yourself. There is nothing equal to you. So nothing superior to you, O Lord, whose power is unmatched in all of the three words and many other words, if you will. I mean, there is a lot of repetition, but they are all, it's impregnated with a vision of what the nature of God is and the devotion and the reverence to the Lord. It has a melody, it has a fragrance that every time we meet together to read these repetitions, I feel elevated emotionally. You are the father of this universe, moving of beings who are inert and moving sentient beings. You are the most adorable guru as well, because you came as an avatar to teach humanity. There is nothing equal to you. How can there be another guru or principle superior to you? Your power is unmatched. No? My mouse decides to become stationary. Okay, now it's moving again. Some tongue twisters. So you are the father. You are the Karana. What is tongue twisters? Okay.
Just really hard to pronounce.
Okay. Like try to repeat some German words. I lived in Germany for some time, and my girlfriend there was trying to teach me a few words. And the only one I heard was Scheiße. Some tongue twist. Okay.
We all know that word.
Yeah.
Scheiße.
So you are the ultimate father. You are the Karana of the entire creation. And what about mother? Mother also is you. You are the father. You are the mother. Even though here and there we may find the concept that Ishwara is the father, or and Maya is the wife. When they get together, and then the world is produced. In the Vedic teaching, father and mother are inseparable. Creation is only possible when there is these two principles, which basically is fundamentally is spirit, consciousness, and Maya or Ishwara. But we could see Maya and Ishwara as a couple as well. So one is Brahma Tattva, the nature of God. Another is Maya. Here he's presented as Maya and Ishwara, the two nature. Matter and Brahma Tattva. Brahman and Maya are inseparable. This is very nice because when we try to understand Maya, we have some trouble because Maya cannot be part of Brahman because Brahman is one without any parts. But at the same time, Maya seems to be something always there, potentially within Brahman that manifests the world or superimpose the world upon Brahman from time to time. So Brahman and Maya are inseparable, and that's why Vishnu and Lakshmi are inseparable. And then he brings the other couple, Vishnu and Lakshmi. Lakshmi occupies the chest of the Lord. You remember, we have seen it recently, that the thing at the pocket, that Lakshmi represent prosperity. So we human beings, we like to put the money in the pocket. Now money is disappearing. But it represents Lakshmi Devi in the Vedic culture. It's better to keep it close to your heart. That is the symbolism there. Brahmaji seeks Sarasvati where? In the tongue itself, knowledge, words. So we cannot separate a word of its meaning, as we have seen recently. Shiva is still father. Half of the body is occupied, therefore all the Trinity we find, father and mother, they cannot be separated. You guys familiar with this analogy here? This Sarasvati, Brahmaji Brahman keeps Sarasvati where? In the tongue, as knowledge, as words.
Yeah, well, that's it. Saraswati is the god of knowledge, so therefore it comes from words.
Yeah. And then when he says it, and Shiva is still father. Did you get that? Still half of the body is occupied.
No, I don't really understand that.
Okay, I think Brahmaji, he is the creator. Sarasvati is there. Brahmaji, through knowledge, conveying these teachings to all of us. And Shiva, being Nirguna Brahman, is still father. Half of the body is occupied. Therefore, all the Trinity, because he mentioned the Trinity here, Okay.
Yeah, when he says half of the body is occupied, that's by Pavarati, which is the consort of Shiva. So they come together. So therefore, all the Trinity we find father and mother. So he's talked about Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, and they've all got their respective partners or couples, which in simple terms means Maya. Brahma or Vishnu or Shiva being the consciousness itself.
Okay. He says they cannot be separated. The philosophical significance is Brahman and Maya are inseparable. And that's why when we worship Mother, Father is included. And when we worship Father, Mother is included. So you need not even separately do this worship. Therefore, Pitasi means you are both the father and the mother. Yeah, we have seen it recently. So, what type of loka? And then he says here, Mata Datta e Pitamahaha. So, Asya Lokashya. What type of loka? Karakarasya. The world consisting of the moving and non-moving objects. So, the moving referring to the sentient objects, the living beings, non-moving referring to the achetana, the insentient objects, inert objects. Okay, talk about this loka, this physical material loka as we know. And not only that, Tativam Tativamasya Pujayaha Ka. And you are the one to be worshipped by the entire creation. The ultimate object of your worship is you. And that's why even if anyone else receives worship, suppose we receive worship, our children do namaskara to us, whether they will do it doubtfully or not, or mean, how you say, mindly or not. Suppose the children do namaskara to us, or we are teachers, therefore students do namaskara to us, or anyone does namaskara to us. The most difficult thing, say Swamiji, is the wife do namaskara to the husband. Okay. Suppose the children do namaskara. So what are we supposed to do? This is very, very nice. This is a very important concept or fact. We never deserve real namaskara. That is the truth. But when they do namaskara to us, because it is their duty as children, as students, and so on, they do namaskaras. We cannot stop the namaskara. We cannot stop them to do this, and we cannot just stop the disciples or the students to do namaskara. Therefore, what we do, we get the namaskara and we pass it on to the Lord right away. This is a very important concept. And this is only possible when the sense of being the thinker and the doer and the experience, the sense of doership, the ego, has been purified in the light of these teachings. If the ego is there, still the sense of importance is going to come to surface, and then you're going to see some people, especially teachers and gurus, they develop a sense of self-importance, and then they begin expecting it from others. Expecting what? Namaskaras or appreciation or reverence. But the point here is quietly, we just hand it over to the Lord. Therefore, O Lord, I am receiving. Therefore, O Lord, I am receiving it, and without keeping it for a long time, I immediately pass on to my guru. So Jesus he's not putting words in Arjuna because it's, I don't know, let's see here. I'm receiving it, and without keeping it for a long time, I immediately pass on to my guru. This is one shortcut. Relay race. I give to my guru, and he gives to his guru, and in that way we have our sampradaya. Sadashivas, Samarambam. Or if you are children and you are doing namaskara to your parents, they will hand over to their parents, and if they receive namaskara, they hand over. It's just pass it on. And the thing is, any expression of respect or love or reverence or appreciation people give to us, we should just not use it to crystallize even further the sense of self-importance, and vanity and something like that. Because when we're long enough in these teachings and really doing this work, we understand that everything we have is from Ishvara, Everything we have from Ishvara. It's easy for us to say, yes, but I am in Nirguna Atma, I'm beyond Saguna Ishvara, yes. But this knowledge is possible only because you have a body-mind complex in which Nirguna Atma shines, allowing you to recognize your true nature with the help of the teachings of Ishvara. Ishvara creates you, Ishvara teaches you as Sadhguru. and then we get everything from Ishvara. And then now we have the knowledge that I am beyond Ishvara because I'm Nirguna Brahman. This is arrogance. And then the key is never take in anything that could pump our ego, our sense of self-importance. But this has to be also looked in a certain sense. This is for a student of Vedanta who is overall health, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, because some people they suffer of a very, very strong sense of guilt, smallness, inadequacy, and so on. And they need to be appreciated. And they need to own that, everybody has one's virtues and faults, And as Ramji used to say, if it was up to us, we would love to be born with only virtues. I want to be loved. I want to be a great human being. Yeah? But somehow we live within this process and we get what we deserve. We make an effort to improve upon our jiva nature every birth. But at the same time, we should never beat ourselves up and to the point of developing a very, very oppressing sense of smallness, guilt, inadequacy. That is very destructive. It's a question to find balance. Every one of us have our virtues and defects. The main thing is to make an effort to purify our human nature so that we can be qualified to understand our higher nature. Because if the ego developed a sense of superiority complex, that's going to be an impediment in the Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana of the Upanishad. If the ego has a sense of inferiority and such complex, it's going to be a huge obstacle as well. So we need to find that's why I like to put it a health ego, Ego, to talk about ego, we need to define the base of what we mean by ego. It needs to be health, well educated by the scriptures, so that he passes on what belongs to Ishvara and just remains as an instrument of the Lord with or without self-knowledge, but yet never forgetting that we are an effect of the Creator, Ishvara. So some people are afraid of receiving namaskara. It could create a problem, potentially is a problem. I'm saying a little bit more about this because in my small circle, I see some people who have very much inspired to share these teachings. And I have been telling, share, do this, do that, but be very careful. Don't own it and don't allow your ego to just become dysfunctional, losing it, and start developing self-importance and vanity and so on. Because it's very common. It may create problems for the ego to go in a position such as sharing these teachings without having your sense of doership purified in the light of these very teachings that you want to share. Oh. So therefore, we have to hand over every appreciation that people may have towards us to the Lord, and we do that in our heart, in our mind, remembering. And here represent as namaskara. Otherwise, we risk to take a spiritual downfall. That's what I was meaning. I keep alerting some people. We are not supposed to receive namaskara when if we take it into our ego. Yes, my body mind complex. I am a genius. I always knew that I was, a great teacher and so on. Our ego gets bloated that way, and that can indeed lead to our downfall. That's why there are some swamis, some gurus, that will never allow anyone to do namaskara to them. Swami tells a little story, says, I remember when I was in the ashram, one Swami had come. He, even before coming to the place, he sends the instructions. Nobody should come and do namaskara to me. He arrived in his car, got down from the car, and somebody was immediately, people who did not get these instructions, he fell at his feet. The Swami was disturbed, much disturbed. So there are many people who refuse to receive namaskara because they understand human nature. According to the scriptures, receiving namaskara it could cause one's downfall if you don't pass it on immediately to the Lord. If you don't pass it immediately to our sampradaya, the scriptures, to the Lord, or to your guru, we do not deserve it because none of this belongs to us. Hand it over to whosoever is coming above you. If you hand it over to your Guruji, the Guruji is going to hand it over to his Guruji, and that way it's going to be delivered to the Lord Ishvara, the creator and the originator of this scriptural knowledge. It reminds me again of Papaji. Papaji used to feel so disturbed that people, namaskara he would take, but touching his foot and stay there, head down on his foot, he was really upset with that kind of thing. And he would say in words sometimes, I say, no, if you want to pay respect, pay to the master. He used to call Ramana his master, the master. It's all belongs to the master. But then you see these modern gurus. There was a period in my life that I was inspired to listening a little bit the talks of Moji. Have you heard of Moji? Moji. And then Vedanta came, self-knowledge came, and so on. And then years later on, somebody sent me something. I went to see what was going on around him. It was the guy had a huge downfall because he allowed all these people around him turning him into a god, putting him up there and what they were saying, what they were doing. And he lost it. He totally lost it, became the most ridiculous kind of movement in a few years, a huge downfall. Not to talk about the scandals around him, but just the scene of him accepting people to throw themselves on the floor, saying things that without you, we are nothing, and indeed, he took everything without saying, hey guys, I'm just a link here. I'm just an instrument.
What tradition was he from? Do you know who his teacher was?
Yeah, I got interested in him because I was associated to Ramana and Papaji. And he went to Papaji shortly before we from Osho went to Papaji. And he stayed there in Papaji, and apparently, very shortly before, he had some epiphanies. And when people talk to him about how was your enlightenment, he only talks about the epiphany he had. You understand? And so his guru was Papaji, In the beginning, he was making it a point. Nowadays or later on, maybe even the pictures of Papaji could have been removed, because if you start keeping it all to yourself, you don't want even to pass to that one you were saying was your guru, your teacher. But it was the same direct pass kind of uh, tool that Papaji used to do. That was him. You people go, at least it used to be like that. That's why I got the truth. He said, "Oh, I have this problem." He say, "Okay, so problem. And how you know that?" I know because I'm seeing. So you experience that, and then are you that, or you are something that experienced that? So to whom is this coming to? Who is really? And then he used to direct the people very simply to that which was behind the mind. And that was what Papaji was doing all the time, and he picked it up nicely. Of course, that does not constitute a valid means of self-knowledge or teaching. The same way what Papaji was doing is far from constituting a valid teaching methodology. Lord Krishna, while answering Arjuna's question, point out that I am time. I am the nature of time. Time is not separate from creation. Time and space is not separate from creation. Time and space are inseparable entities. Now we say time and space are two sides of the same coin. Once I appreciate Desha and Kala, time and space, as Ishwara, then everything existing time and space also must be Ishwara. So I take space, I take time to be an extension, quote unquote, of Ishwara, because Ishwara, some people put it in terms of the universe is an extension of Ishwara. It's okay, but you have to be careful because Ishwara is not an extension. It appears as extended without altering its true nature as pure knowledge, pure intelligence, pure consciousness. But time and space are there. We know it's a byproduct of Maya, Ishwara. Therefore, time and space must be of the same nature of Ishwara. Once I understand this, I can appreciate time and space as Ishwara. And then that does not end there. Everything which is superimposed upon time and space is also Ishwara. Because none of these, all the objects cannot be separate from time and time and space cannot be separate or apart from Ishwara. Everything resolves itself for themselves in Ishwara. As I said the other day, although time and space are separate and the creation is separate, this was the thing under Newtonian physics. Later, even science has revised that creation cannot be apart from time and space. Time and space cannot be separate from the universe. So now time and space is not something apart from this cosmos that the science is really fascinated trying to understand a bit. The question is time and space. Is time and space separated from God? But then we have a problem because most science does not go into the concept of God. That's why Shankaracharya, in his Dakshinamurti Stotram, says it's not time and space. It's not that time and space exists before Bhagwan create the universe. It's not that time and space exists before Bhagwan sorting time or projecting time. one day to create the universe. That is not the idea. Bhagwan create the world means Bhagwan create time, place, and the world upon it. So time and space and everything came about simultaneously and not separate from one another. And that's why we get into a logical problem. Now he's going to point out to some of the creation theories, fallacies, or logical problems. It's not the topic here, but we're going to look into it because we are dealing with Vishvarupa. The universe manifests as the body of the Lord. Once I know that God created time and space and the world, will have difficulty in answering this question. Which question? When did Bhagwan create time? What will be our answer? So time and space, is there. It's Ishvara's creation. And then as a byproduct, the object within time and space. And then when did Bhagwan create time? When Bhagwan creates space, what will be your answer? But this analogy, this fallacy is easy to see in terms of time. Because when we talk about creation or origination of the universe, we always think in terms of time, a linear time. Anything we create here, yeah? Any object, any concept, any wording, anything that we bring about through our physical body or mental capacities, we see that as happening in time. Yeah. So, and then time is okay. When did creation happen in time? So you have to see it began on time zero, and then what was before time zero? Zero means to say the beginning of time, and then begin, 1 year, 2 years, or whatever, If Bhagwan create time at 0 o'clock on the day number one, then what does that mean? It means to say that if we put the creation within a time scale, a linear scale, it means that time should be there before the zero time or the 8 o'clock time. So you cannot conceive time unless you conceive it upon time itself. That is the fallacy. Time created, does it happen? You can never answer the question when time arrived. When we look into all these fallacies in every theory of creation, and we come to the conclusion that this is an instant projection. When we look into this instant projection as a process that takes time, and then we go into the theory of evolution. So, but at the end, we have to come with the help of Mundakya and Mundukya, Karika, Gaudapata, and we'll see that there is no creation. Because if there is a beginning of creation, then what was there before creation? Who created? Using what kind of raw material? From which creation? If this creation was not there before it was created? Oh no, it took from a different universe. Okay. And then that universe is the cause of this one here, of this creation. The previous creation is the cause. And then we have to go back. Who created that? So we go in a progression into infinity regression, which is another illogical knot, as Swami puts here. These questions cannot be answered, but Gaudapada made a beautiful effort to explain to us that there are no answers because there's no creation, The last and most difficult question is how did the cause-effect principle come into existence? So this we have seen in the Manduki as well. One of the theories that it was karma, causality, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. And Gaudapada proves that that is absolutely logical as well. How did causality principle came into being? Who brought about causality? If we say that causality or karma is the cause of the universe, how did cause-effect principle came? When I ask, this is the subject of Mandukya, yeah? The question is, what is the cause of the cause-effect principle? What has caused causality to begin with? Again, we go into this infinite regression. These three questions you can never answer. That's why we use the word Maya, that which cannot be comprehended. Maya does not mean we do not mean how how to know how to. And Maya means intellect. These questions are indecipherable, unknowable. Okay, it's beyond any intellectual possibility. The scripture do not talk about that. We say Maya because it's a certain power that cannot be comprehended by our human intellect. And I like to remember the scriptures do not point out to a logic really to support it. Well, our scriptures, at least, there's Vedas, there are all kinds of theories from the most simple and then some others. How the God created the universe, in Christianity they say in 5 days and then he rests on Saturday and something like that. And up to recently it has created it 2,100 years ago. And then science starts just to bring to light the insanity of those religious concepts and so on. So Maya means intellectual. This question is undecipherable. And that is an aside. We will see the details in Mandukya. So here, what I want to say is Bhagavan says, I am time. That's why Swami brought it. We should understand Bhagavan is time. Bhagavan is space. Bhagavan is object within time and space as well. And once I know Bhagavan has brought about time and space and objects, it's proved Bhagavan is all the events and objects in it as well, because time and space includes events, include the event of our class of today. Gita class is not an object, or we can say is an event object. If we look at the object as anything that can be known, okay? Anything that can be known is an object of knowledge. So we know there is class tomorrow. But here Swami says it's not an object in the common meaning of the word, but it's an event object, let's say. Therefore, Lord is time, Lord is space, Lord is object, Lord is events, and finally, and most important, Lord is the intelligent order, the laws and principles projecting and holding together. Therefore, a particular event happens because a particular law. Tom says, for example, when you boil water to make coffee, the boiling of water is an event, is a happening governed by certain laws. In specifically, what law? The law of thermodynamics. Water boils at a certain temperature. When it reaches that, it converts into steam or vapor. Normal temperature, the pure water, and then he said, not the water of our city here that has a different temperature, boiling temperature. So there are some universal laws for everything and everyone here. So we talk of Ishvara often. I mean, I like to talk of Ishvara as the law, as the laws and principle uh, governing this Mithya order. And it's important we remember the word Mithya order. It's an order, or it's intelligent order because it's intelligently designed, because these laws and principles are going to govern and hold together this Mithya apparent universe. So what is important to understand is that although this is a superimposition of namarupas, which are not self-contained because they have a dependent existence on that which is God the Creator and Brahman, the true nature of God the Creator. It still is available here for our transactions, for our experience, and so on, but it's not really real. You know? So what it means to say that even in the realm of the anathema, which is unreal, we need order. We need this pure intelligence, which is pure sattva guna, which is the purest possible reflection of Brahman, pure consciousness upon this, this prakriti of Maya conditioned by so much sattva guna to produce this reflection of pure knowledge capable to hold and to design, sustain everything. So everything around us is following this intelligent order, intelligent laws and principle. And but this is Nietzsche, yes, but he needs order. In Sancha, there is no need of anything to hold anything because there is only one without a second. There is only conscious existence. And then when you superimpose something upon conscious existence, you need to have a lot of laws, intelligent design to make that project a superimposition, so that we don't mix up Satya with Mithya. And then he talks about, he refers beautifully to Swami Dayananda. Dayananda calls, that's why Dayananda calls this order with a capital O, an order which governs the music of creation. A little touch of poetry there as well, coming from Swami Paramarthananda, which governs the orchestra of the creation. All of them is Bhagwan, space, time, and everything that comes from space. All of them is only Bhagwan and Bhagwan alone. And instead of saying Bhagwan creates everything, we have progressed a little bit. And then we say Bhagwan is everything. He creates, but the creation is just not apart from the intelligence, the intelligent cause of the universe, this body of pure knowledge provided by pure sattva guna. So the knowledge extends itself into a manifest apparent universe, and it's just as if it was an extension of its knowledge. It's the intelligent cause and the material cause, and then it becomes the cosmos without modifying its true nature as pure knowledge and Nirguna Brahman. So the other day, one person asked, can I have this? We're going to leave for the next one because it's going to change the subject here. Okie doke. We meet next Monday, 1 hour early, okay? I'm going to send the videos now, and I will put this note there. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay. Om Ishwara, Namaste, my good friends. We meet next time, Ishwara willing.
Thanks, Arlindo. Wonderful class. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it as well.
Thank you, Arlindo. Yeah, very nice.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you soon.
Okay. See you Monday. Okay. Have a nice weekend. Bye now.